Welcome to my girlfriend's Thready box series. This is number 3, and we are doing the School is Cool series. Okay, we are filming for the kids box today, and the first item that is in your box is going to be the Crayon Caddy. It is so cute, you guys. Look at this. So you will be making this whole thing today. And it is to put all of your crayons in, or your school, you could put small pencils, small pens in. So that is what we are going to make today. Let's get started on our instructions. So first we're going to quickly go over your directions, your instructions for making this Crayon Caddy. Your kit includes first the outside piece of fabric, which is this green kind of a plaid, teal green plaid, and also a piece of fusible backing. Okay, that's the first 2 pieces. This is the lining of your Crayon Caddy, which is kind of a gold yellow, and this is going to be your pocket. So your pocket is 5.5 by 18. Those and this piece of ribbon are what is included in your kit today. Okay, so we are going to get started. All of your pieces have been cut for you. So we will go ahead and just get started with what you're going to learn today. You are going to learn how to measure and allow spacing for sewing lines. So on the sewing line is these little lines that are going to hold your crayons into place. You will learn how to measure and mark those lines, and very important, you are going to sew directly on those lines that you marked. Okay, we're going to set this right up here, and we're going to talk about vocabulary. So 2 different terms that you're learning today is how to fold fabric. So this is a piece of fabric that is 5.5 by 18 inches. So if we laid it right here, it shows 5.5 by 18. There's 2 different ways you can fold this fabric. First is called hot dog style, which I'm going to fold it and put the 2 long sides together. That is hot dog style folding. The other way is hamburger style, and that would be putting 2 short sides together. So those are 2 different ways of folding your fabric, and you can do it either with the wrong sides of your fabric together or the right sides. So just make sure when you are looking at any pattern that you read it really carefully and see whether it says right sides, the right side of your fabric together or facing, or it says wrong sides facing. The other thing we're going to talk about today is called top stitching. This is a decorative stitch that you put onto your project to make it look nice. So you can use, if you look really closely, we have top stitched right along here, and we have top stitched our pocket, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. You can do top stitching with several different kinds of stitches. You can use just a straight stitch, which we're going to do today, or you can use decorative stitches. Sometimes it's fun to use some different fun stitches to make it look different or cute. Okay, so we are going to go on to the assembly instructions, putting this together. Very first thing we're going to do is prepare our pocket. So we are going to fold our pocket in half, hot dog style. I like to just finger press it really nicely, and then I am going to take this over to the ironing board. Make sure you ask an adult to help you do this part, and we are going to press it. So right over here, I'm going to take my iron. I'm not going to rub my iron on it. I am just pressing it nice up and down. So I'm not stretching my fabrics. Just going up and down. Get a nice little fold here. You can see it's pressed. And then we are going to take that to our sewing machine. We have lined our presser foot up right with the edge of our fabric, and we are just going to do a nice stitch right along there. Just use your straight stitch. Now, if you would like, this would be a fun place to check out some of your decorative stitches on your machine and play with those a little bit. Okay, and we're going to finish that off. We don't have to worry about locking our stitch on here because this is on the end. Cut our thread and we're going to go back over to our table. Okay, look at that nice top stitch right along there. Work really hard to keep that presser foot right along the edge there so you get a nice even stitch. Next thing we're going to do is put the fusible backing on the back side of our outside piece. So let's take this over to the iron, both of these pieces. And we have cut this just the right size for you, so you're going to lay it right on top there. Make sure it's nice and even because you don't want to get any of this fusible backing adhesive on your mat. And now this, you just have to hold that iron on there for a little bit to get it to fuse, which means the heat is making it bond to your fabric. Okay, I think we have that on there nice. We're going to take that back over and we're going to just set that to the side. We are not using that right now. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lining fabric and I am going to lay it on my table right side up. And I'm going to take my pocket and I'm going to put it right on top. Look how nicely that fits. I'm going to take a couple of pins. Always make sure you pin these in place. And I'm going to pin them right here. Right on the edge. Both sides. And then we are going to take that back over to the sewing machine. And we are going to line that up and sew right down those sides. Okay, let's go back over to our sewing machine. Okay, here we are. I'm going to line that up really nicely there. Take my pin out, and here you want to make sure that you lock your stitch. So reverse it and go back, lock your stitch. Okay, here we go. Have to push on the foot. There we go. Take my next pin out and keep sewing right down that edge. And lock my stitch again because we don't want those stitches coming out. Okay. Cut my thread and I'm going to do that same thing on the other side. Okay, we're going to line that up really nicely there. Right with the presser foot. Reverse it so I can lock my stitch. Gotta see, there we go. And do the same thing right here. Okay. And we are ready to move on to our next step. Okay, let's go back over here. And next thing is putting the ribbon on. So this is a little bit tricky. Make sure you really follow the directions on this. So you have taken your piece, your long piece of ribbon, it's 28 inches. You're going to fold it right in half. So you're going to take that fold right where that fold is, and you're going to lay it right on top here and pin it in place. Okay, I know it seems like you'd put these other ends, but this is what you're going to use to tie your Crayon Caddy closed. So you want to make sure that fold is to the right on the edge, and then I like to just stitch that down to hold it in place. So I'm going to take it right back over here, put it in my machine, and I'm just going to do a little stitch right across there just to hold it in place. Okay? Don't have to lock that or anything. It's right there. Okay? And if you notice, I have lots of little pieces of thread. I don't don't like all these pieces of thread, so this would be a time that you're going to go and you're just going to clip all those little pieces of thread that are hanging out here. I like to get them off of here. I don't like them in my project. They kind of make things messy and they get in the way. Sometimes your sewing machine likes to hang up on those. So let's get all those little pieces of thread out of the way right now. There we go. Throw those in the trash can, and now we are going to turn our instructions over and we are going to move on to the next part. Okay, so one thing that's not in your instructions, but I want to make sure you know how to do, is keep this ribbon out of the way. Okay, we do not want that ribbon to get caught up in our next step of sewing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little pin and I'm going to pin right here, just so those ends, let's pin it out just a little bit further, just so those ends do not get sewn into my seams when I am putting it together. We are ready to go. You are going to take it, you are going to lay it with the lining and the pocket facing up, and then you're going to take your main outside piece with the right side facing down. It should lay right on there nicely. This is going to take a few pins. So take your pins, always pin your corners first so it lays nice and flat. And then we'll just put a couple extra pins in here and there just to hold everything in place nice and snug. So I'm going to put a couple right here on the top, and I'm going to put a couple right here on the bottom. And then one thing I really want to remember, really important to remember, is that you need to leave an opening for turning this inside out or right side out. We don't want you to sew all the way around because you couldn't turn it right side out. So what I always like to do is leave just about a 3-inch opening. I put a little mark here and I put a little mark here, just so I know that's where I'm going to start and stop my sewing. Now I'm going to take this back over to the machine and line up my presser foot, and we're going to sew all the way around. Here's my presser foot lining right up with the edge of that fabric. We make sure that we lock our stitch right when we start so it does not come undone. Then I am going to sew all the way around. When we get to the corner, we have to remember to leave our needle down so we make a nice turn and it holds very nicely. Okay, so I'm going to put my needle down into my fabric. I'm going to lift my foot and I am going to rotate my fabric. So the edge once again is right along your edge of your presser foot. Take that pin out, do the same thing on this edge. You can slow down when you come to the edge. Leave that needle down, lift up your presser foot and turn. Okay, we are coming to the end of our seam all the way around. Once again, we're going to lock that stitch. Needle up, cut our threads. Okay, we are back over here and we are ready to turn. The only thing we need to remember to do is clip those corners. It makes turning so much easier. So I always like to put my thumb right on top of my stitching so I don't accidentally cut my stitching. Take a nice pair of sharp scissors and I'm just going to clip that little bit of that corner off of there. It just makes it easier to turn this guy inside out. Okay, and we are ready to turn it. Let's cut those threads off of there, get those out of the way. Open this little guy up and turn it right side out. And you want to be careful when you're doing this. If you pull and tug a little too hard, you can break these stitches right up here at the top on your opening. So just do this kind of gently as you turn it. I want to take that pin out that's holding my ribbon down so we can get that out of the way. And there we have our pouch. Okay, so now I'm going to poke my corners out here through my opening. So right up in here is my opening. So I just take my finger, and if you have a tool or something that you can poke these edges out better, grab a chopstick, grab a turning tool. You can even grab the end of a pencil or a pen. That works nicely. And poke those right out. Look at that. We're going to do this side over here. Do the same thing. Poke that out nice. There's one. And here's another one. There we go. So we have all of our sides turned out. Now what you want to do is take this over the table, over to the iron, and you're going to press this very nicely. And right here on your opening, see how you have a little extra? You want to press that. So when we top stitch that, that'll close up real nice. So let's take this over to the iron and press that. Now we're going to take it over to the table, and I'm going to show you right here. So this is the opening, and when we top stitch this opening right here, we want to make sure that we get that caught in the sewing machine. So I always like to just put a little pin right there so I know right where that's at. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to stitch all the way around to close that up. We'll line it up with the presser foot, but you can go just a little bit less on this just so it catches that fabric. I think in our instructions we told you to line it up. Let's make sure. Yep, it just says to top stitch, so I like to go just a little bit less just to make sure I catch that. Okay, you just want to do your tops and sides on this. We don't want to do the bottom just because we want to make sure those crayons all fit in there really nice. So you're just going to do your tops and your sides. And I think even if you didn't want to do the sides, you could probably be okay with just doing the top. Okay, and we have got it all top stitched, and we are ready for our last step. You guys are doing amazing. You will have your crayon caddy done in no time at all. Okay, so what you are going to do after you have that all top stitched is you are going to take a ruler. So I have this little ruler here, and I am going to mark every 3/4 of an inch. So I am going to show you on a ruler. It's marked 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. So we're going to use this little line here, and we are going to mark in all the way down the sides with a line. So you are going to take your little pen and you are going to just mark lines right down there every 3/4 of an inch. So I'm putting that 3/4 marker right on there as I go across. Okay, and we're going to go all the way across doing that. And then I'm going to show you. I'm not going to do all of them here because you got the idea. But then I'm going to show you what we do once we have those markings. We're then going to take that over to our sewing machine, and you are going to sew right on those lines that you marked. So this is important that you lock your stitch, top and bottom of here. So you start, you hit your backwards or your lock button, and then you just go right on down. Then when you get to the end, same thing. Hit that lock button and lock it. And you are good to go. There's your first one. We'll do that on every one of those little lines as we go across. And you will have a holder for all of your fun crayons. Lock it and cut the thread. So you'll just continue, go back over here, you'll continue doing that all the way across your whole crayon caddy. And you are finished. You have completed your first project out of the School is Cool Thready box. Let's look at the finished one. Here's your crayon caddy. We've filled it up with crayons. Now all you're going to do is take from one end, you just roll it up. You take one piece of your ribbon and go this way, and one piece of your ribbon and go that way, and you tie it up, and it is finished. Your crayons are going nowhere. Take it with you, throw it in your backpack. How fun is that? Good job, guys. You have finished the first project, the crayon caddy, out of your School is Cool Thready box. I can't wait to move on to the next project. Thank you.